Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. It's Friday, which can only mean one thing. It's an hour of me and Dean Jones. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, well, hello, everyone. I'm just trying to tweet at the moment. I'll try that again when
Same.
I'm not talking in a second. But yeah, it's good. It's a tough game week, obviously. Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham not playing, Luton not playing. So there's a lot to contemplate. A few blanks in everybody's teams, but I can get by. I think I'm going to field 10 players this week, and I'm happy with that being a reasonably decent spot. And I had a very good week last week, which was very rare and very welcome. I got 95 points in the end, so I had a nice green arrow.
Love that, mate. Love that. We might have to do a poll, something along the lines of how many players are you going to field this week? Is it going to be 8, 9, 10, or 11 plus? Let's do that. I think there'll be a lot with 10. Dean, I'm also multitasking, which is why I'm not looking at the camera because my laptop's now below the camera because I was like tweeting and stuff. And it was very obvious when I did the intro. And then I just like you was just about to send the tweet out and I saw my tabs and my tabs on my laptop with things I've done in the last 10 minutes are ridiculous. So I feel like I should probably share it with our chasers. And good afternoon to all of our chasers. So you're not going to be able to see my screen, but I will talk you through my current tabs. So I've got Twitter open, ready to tweet the Chasing Green Arrows link as per normal. Next to that, I've got another Twitter window open where I'm DMing a new member of the FPL community, and that is a certain Stormzy. If you want to follow him, he's got an FPL only account he's just created in like the last half an hour. Already got lots and lots of follows. But I was delighted to see I was one of a handful that he follows, so that means I can DM him. I've got my Skyscanner app open on tab 3, which is to book flights to Dubai in a couple of days' time because I've still not done that.
You haven't booked the flight yet. You're going on Sunday and you haven't booked a flight yet.
Well, no, I've booked my flight there. I've not booked my flight back.
Okay. Okay.
And I haven't booked a hotel until about 7 minutes ago.
Oh my
And
God.
Heathrow Airport parking, another one. Premier Inn for Sunday night, where we're going to be streaming live on Chasing Green Arrows before I fly Monday morning. Need to book that. That's another tab open. StreamYard for a stream that I'm doing later at 4:30 to set that up. All in the last 10 minutes. It's been a chaotic Friday. I meant to have Fridays off.
Are you?
It's meant to be it's the only day I don't work my day job. So it's
Right.
it's meant to be a more chill day.
Well, it's never going to happen, is it, when it's an FPL day full of weekend fixtures to comprehend, mate, and you've got Stormzy in your DM. So that's
He hasn't responded yet, mate.
No, I don't think we will. Get Stormzy on Chasing Green Arrows. Yeah, that would fit. That would do our numbers some good, wouldn't it? We have got to 7,000 subscribers though, so thank you to everyone that pushed us over the line. Let's get to 10k. Get to 10k by the end of the season. That would be a nice finish. Stormzy, maybe you'll help us if you keep staying in your Twitter mentions, mate. That would be very helpful. The bad news, which everyone's talking about in the chat, is Højlund is out. This is a shock injury. This is a big setback for some people who probably have just transferred him in. Some people might have had him set as captaincy option for this week, playing against Fulham. I thought about going to this game as a Fulham fan and taking my little boy and thought, you know what? Fulham aren't going to win that. And Højlund's going to continue his goal scoring run. We're not going. And suddenly I'm thinking, do you know what? We might get something out of that game. But yeah, no Højlund for Man United this week. That is big, big news.
No Paulina either, right? Suspended for a couple. So those that are going United attack wanted Højlund because they're like, no Paulina. It was good. But now maybe Garnacho's still a good pick.
Garnacho could still be a good pick, yeah, for sure. But there aren't too many at jumping out at me from Man United right now. There's talk that Lindelof might be used as a fullback, things like that being talked about at the moment. So yeah, there's a lot. Getty says Rashford up top now. I mean, anyone out there willing to back Rashford at the moment? I mean, it's Fulham. He's perfectly capable of scoring against us. I'm not going to put him down enough to say he can't do that. But quite a premium asset, isn't he? And if you're going to be backing somebody like that, you want to see some sort of form.
If you're buying Rashford, just buy Garnacho.
Yeah, I think you're right, to be honest. I mean, when I watch United, Garnacho's the guy that makes things happen, isn't he? The way he cuts in, he's always got his head up, looking for a shot, looking for that last pass that makes something happen. Nuclear, I do not even want to talk about the prospect of Anthony Martial. That is absolutely ridiculous. The guy is never being spoken about again in FPL.
We'll indulge you with Anthony instead, Nuclear. Yeah, he'll probably come into the 11, play on the right, Garnacho left, but meh.
Yeah, I mean, you just see like Hoyland, Rashford, Garnacho, United have a bit of zip about them, a bit of unexpectedness about them. When Anthony's there, he dilly-dallies so long. He's not as direct. He's not as fast. Doesn't get at people. He gets at people, and then he stops and does 4 step overs, and then does it again, and then he goes around someone and he tries a curved pass. And by that point, everybody's back in position, and you can figure it out. That's my problem with Anthony. Was obviously he is an exceptional footballer, but where's that cutting edge? That's what's missing. Probably prime time for him to score 2 goals against Fulham now that I've just said that about him. But there you go.
Clip it. Hello, by the way, to all of our chasers. I can see British 87's there, Lingani, Nuclear's in. He's brought Garnacho already. Wachter, CH. Seb is in the house as well. We've also got world number 30 FPL Chai around. Chai, I know it's your lunch break, I think. You mentioned that you might be around to jump on. Let me know either in the chat or DM. And if you do fancy joining for 10 minutes or 15 or 40, we're going to be streaming for the next 50 minutes. So Chai, you're welcome to jump on and join us at any point. You know that. Likewise, Neil Robertson is in the house in the chat. Shout out to Neil. He's been practicing hard this morning, hours around the table. Neil, how many hours a day do you practice? Interested to know that. And yeah, Neil, I'd love to get you on Chasing Grey Arrows at some point as well. Chai says, I could, maybe for 10, I'll let you know. No worries, man. Let us know what time suits. I'll send you the StreamYard link and you can, in fact, I'll send you the StreamYard link and you can pop in at any point. Yeah. He's got an open invite, hasn't he, Dean? As long as he doesn't swear.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't fall out of... don't swear and don't drop out the top 100. As soon as you become irrelevant, mate, we don't want you back.
Oh, do you know what? That does sometimes happen when you're having a really good season. You start making content and it's like, oh, people only want to listen to you when your rank's good. Chai will buck that trend because he's actually just a really good, firstly, a really good FPL manager, regardless of his rank. But secondly, he's just got such good chat, hasn't he? He's so likable on camera and he's just part of the group now, part of the gang.
Yeah, definitely. I think all the chasers like listening to Chai now. Talks a lot of sense. Has got a very unique way of playing the game. And I think that we all appreciate that. And we're probably better off having 10 minutes of Chai than we are 10 minutes of assessing changes of the chasers team, which is been to the dislike of many people in the comments section recently. So there you go.
We'll give you a proper update on that. Yeah, but it's
update coming.
Yeah, I love that. FPL Fella is in the chat as well. Seeing as we've been so name drop heavy for the start of the show, let me just continue it. For those that aren't fully aware, FPL Fella in the chat, West Ham season ticket holder, good FPL manager, although he's already wildcarded, I think. Not that we judge you by that, fella. Not that we judge you by that at all. He's got a £1,000 bet on with KSI that he will beat him in FPL this year. And I have now watched the Sidemen thing that you told me about, Dean. And I now understand who the Sidemen are and how famous KSI is. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, what is £1,000 to KSI?
Yeah.
all my little boy wants, one of my kids, Dylan, wants at the moment is a bottle of KSI Prime. Like, so Prime is this drink. I don't know if it features much on that show. But comes in all these flavors. Like, he doesn't even really like the drink. He just likes the packaging. He's got this collection of bottles in his bedroom. And like last week, my wife was in LA and bought him LA Dodgers. They have a special bottle, like a Dodgers bottle of Prime. So he's got that one now. He's got this Global one. But anyway, there's this KSI bottle. It's like this black pattern. It's quite cool, but you can't buy it anywhere. And I looked on eBay this morning. I thought, oh, maybe I'll treat him soon. Like, it's like 20 quid for a bottle of this drink. I'm not even sure if it had the drink in it. It might have just even been an empty bottle. And I'm just like, nah. Sorry, mate. I love you, but you ain't having this. Like, this is ridiculous. So yeah, 3 cases of Prime, £1,000. Some of the prices around this drink are absolutely ludicrous. The best marketing campaign of all time. Kids are absolutely obsessed with it. To be fair, I actually like some of the flavors, so I don't mind.
Oh, really? I've never tried it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like glorified squash, mate. Basically, it's like
more sugar.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, but
yeah, Nuclear. You're so true. Then I really do. What was I going to say? Oh, do you remember that Wakefield Wakey Wines thing when Prime first came out, and Wakey Wines were charging like £100 a bottle, and it was the bloke in the news agents being like, "Yeah, I got Prime, and if you want it, it's going to be £100." It was so funny.
There are times when it's so difficult to get. Oh, FPL fella's going to try and get me a bottle. Go on, mate. That'd be really handy.
I love that. It's a £2,000 bet, apparently, not 1,000. Sorry, fella.
£2,000, jeez. Who's winning? How's the bet going?
Oh, I mean, fella's a seasoned pro, so KSI's got no chance. Like, he's a complete casual, like first season player, I think. So yeah, he's pretty much just giving fella the money.
Oh, cool. Fella can use his £2,000 to buy me a bottle of £15 KSI juice anyway. So that'll be absolutely sound. But yeah, Eva says Prime is not selling good in Norway. Been on sale for many months already. Well, if you see any KSI Prime, grab me a bottle. Anyway, away from that, we are talking about
FPL. Oh, fella says he's currently 49 points ahead, and he's only got his triple captain.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Just don't do anything silly. Yeah.
Excellent. Where were we? We're gonna do doing press conference roundup. Like right now, FPL. Oh, not FPL. Right now, Premier League managers are talking. Loads of press conferences happen at 1 o'clock. Even more, I think, happen at 1:30. So as the show goes on, you guys will be helping us out in the chat, but our producers also looking out for stories. Dean and I are on the Twitter timeline as well. And as soon as we hear anything on injuries, we'll let you know. There is big reports on hopeful we're getting some updates today. The likes of De Bruyne, we want to know if he's fit. Like, we know he was an unused substitute. We know he wasn't seen warming up in the week, despite being named on the bench. Is he going to be ready this weekend? De Zerbi, will he be asked about Stupinan? I think he probably will be. Like many out there, 1 in 4 teams have got a Stupinan. He hasn't started the last couple. So Højlund news has just come out. Højlund is going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks. Big news. Luke Shaw's going to be out for a while as well. Hence the idea of Lindelof having to play fullback. Like Maguire went off in the last game as well, I noticed, and Evans came on. I think that might have been a tactical thing. But United's backline not looking perhaps as strong as it did a few weeks back. But let's move our attention, I guess, away from United. We don't want to hang on Liverpool too long because they're a blanker this week. So are Spurs, so are Chelsea, so are Luton. But many out there are going to be selling their Liverpool assets, and rightly so. Like, of course they are. Jota, Darwin, Salah, not only do they not have a game, they're all flagged anyway. Jota's going to be out the longest, a good while. So if we're talking best replacements, before we see our teams, before we do our Against the Obvious feature and answer loads of your questions, which we'll be answering throughout the show, guys. So if you've got a question, do get it in the chat. Just want to talk about one team that's caught loads of people's attention this week, Dean. Most FPL content creators, and I'm probably going to have to say, including me, reluctantly, are selling Jota for a Wolves midfielder this week. And Hwang and Neto are both in demand. Sarabia's obviously an option too, but Hwang is the one that's getting the love. He plays number 9. He's so cheap. And the entry point, as we speak about a lot in FPL, is Sheffield United at home. What's your take on Wolves, Dean, in general? Neto, the better player. Hwang, possibly the better FPL asset. Sarabia, I think, will be the one on pens. A lot of buying Hwang because they think he's on pens. They've taken, I think, 1 each this season. And I don't think the other one was on the pitch when each did that. But Sarabia's got a great record and a former PSG and Spain player. Like, he comes with great pedigree. But yeah, give us some chat on Hwang, Dean.
Yeah, I like it. Obviously, I mean, if you look at when Wolves are best, they're actually better away from home than they are at home if you study the stats. So that's something that might be small concerning. But ultimately, yeah, I think you've got players here. I mean, Hwang has 10 Premier League goals from just 13 shots on target this season. So he exceeds his XG by 3.6. Like, he's really efficient when it comes to goal scoring. Neto obviously has been restricted in terms of his game time this season. 16 appearances so far, but he's provided 9 assists. And that's more than any Wolves player has ever managed in a Premier League season. I think Adama Traore is the only player that has managed to do as well as that for Wolves before. I mean, Neto is just a premium player. I mean, he's not going to be at Wolves next season. He's now moved beyond them. So there's different reasons here. I mean, Hwang is the better goal threat, if you want an actual goal from this fixture, then I think Hwang is your man. But Neto's the better footballer and might be the guy that actually carves open that moment. So definitely two interesting picks. And Sheffield United are rubbish. So
no one's conceded more league goals than Sheffield United at this point in the season in the Premier League history.
Really? I mean, I guess it's not surprising. They had a few paste-ins. I mean, I'm in the same boat. I'm obviously looking at Jota replacements as well. And I am looking a bit at Brighton. Because Brighton have got
good fixtures.
Yeah, they've got decent fixtures. And I am thinking, well, they got Everton first up this weekend at home, which is a fixture I really like. So first and foremost, that's why it came onto my radar. Brighton are unbeaten in their last 10 Premier League home games. They've won 5, they've drawn 5. There's always goals in Brighton games. I mean, they go down the other end as well. They do concede. But I think there was one goalless draw with Wolves last month. Apart from that, there are always goals in Brighton games. And obviously, Pascal Gross has emerged as
don't.
one of the best players in the game.
Hey, he emerged as that a month ago when I bought him. I just didn't keep him.
And I have to say, he's probably my next option. If I don't go towards Wolves, I'll probably go in the direction of Brighton because they've got a reasonable run as well, where I don't think that this would be this wouldn't be the only time I'd want him. They got Everton, Fulham, Nottingham Forest. Things get a little tougher after that, but 3 good weeks for Brighton fixtures. And so if you don't trust Wolves, then I'd say that was the next direction to go in. And the other person that I think could surprise is Jarrod Bowen.
Oh, a player that plays in game week 29 as well.
Exactly.
Many of us thought we would have Bowen by now, but because West Ham have been so bad, we've all swerved it.
But and his points have dropped off. He's fallen away in the last 5 weeks. But is Jarrod Bowen really just going to remain off radar? I can't believe that.
Are West Ham and Moyes, though?
If they're going to bounce back, it's got to be now. This weekend, if West Ham don't win this weekend, then that stadium's going to be venomous, right? And it's
Fella will be there.
Yeah, a really difficult fixture to play in. But Bowen has been so dependable for a lot of the season. This next 3 games, Brentford, Everton, Burnley, a key spell of games. West Ham cannot have become that bad a team that they're not going to get any returns from these matches. Surely things haven't got that bad. At the moment, what I'm hearing is that Moyes isn't going to be sacked in season. They'd rather let him see out his contract and just part ways amicably at the end of the season. Amicably is probably the wrong word, but part ways at the end of the season. I talked last week about how I'd been told that Thomas Tuchel would be on the radar. I think that's becoming a bit more public now on the back of Bayern saying that Tuchel won't be continuing. So that was a bit of a Chasers exclusive we got there. Luke's saying avoid all West Ham. And I know, look, the form is obviously not there. But Jarrod Bowen's good.
At some point, he's gonna have a game. It could be this weekend, and then the game after we'll go, let's buy him. But if you can get him ahead of that game, I hear you. If Paqueta's back soon, that's huge. Antonio's already back. That's huge. Bowen playing in his favoured out wide position. It's good. It's just, can we trust? I mean, for me, playing at home maybe isn't an advantage for West Ham at the moment. If they concede the first goal, it will be venomous. Fella, let us know what you think. But likewise, if they're in the game or they score the first goal, it's bouncing. So I don't hate the Bowen pick or even Kudus. I like them both.
Kudus is a good one as well. Look, the form's not there. I get it. They've lost the last 3 Premier League games. They're conceding a ton of goals. They're also conceding way too many shots. So I certainly wouldn't be picking West Ham defenders right now. I haven't seen the team news. I don't know if they've done a presser yet, but obviously Paqueta has been massive miss for them. Without him, they haven't won in 7 games. And I think they've only scored 5 goals along the way. His influence has really been felt. So if Paqueta was back in the frame And let me know. I mean, FPL fella, you probably will know more than anyone about this. If he's back in the frame, honestly, I might be tempted to go Bowen. Like, I'm at a rank whereby I've got nothing to lose at this stage. Like, I'm not up with Chai. I'm not up there with you. I'm not up there with some of the guys that want to protect their spots in the higher echelons of this league. When you're in the hundreds of thousands, you've got to take some punt somewhere along the way and find a differential. And so if I don't take the obvious bet of going Hwang, which most people will probably do this week, then a Gross or a Bowen is probably the route for me to go. It's a punt, as I say, but there's not that much to lose.
At 1:30 today, we have press conferences from Guardiola, Arteta, Ten Hag, De Zerbi, Nuno, Moyes, Thomas Frank, Iraola, and Wilder. That's like half the league's managers are speaking in the next 3 minutes. So we will be keeping you up to date with all press conference quotes. And boy, well, there's going to be a few and a few big ones. Now, some managers won't reveal much as always, but others will. And already we've seen the Højlund news, like came out the blue there. Højlund was one of the most transferred in players, by the way, already this game week. Rotten luck for owners. Really, really unfortunate there. Guys, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We'd love some more subs if you fancy it. We're going to be revealing our teams later in today's show, but because of the press conference news and because of wanting to answer your guys' questions, I wonder if we should slightly change the running order. And in a minute, we'll do our Against the Obvious feature. But first, let's answer FPL Amateur's question. Any chance of De Bruyne being ruled out? Well, what we know about De Bruyne was midweek, he was named on the bench. It was a bit of a surprise. Post-match, before post-match, he didn't warm up pre-match, right? If you're named on the bench, you're always warming up pre-match. So I think he was named on the bench and then was like, actually, I'm not even going to, it's feeling my hamstring's a bit tighter or whatever. I'm not even going to push it. And then at 0-0 at 60 minutes, usually you'd be like, this is De Bruyne time. When Pep's got De Bruyne on the bench and it's 0-0 and the game's not going your way, De Bruyne comes off the bench. Not this time. Didn't even warm up on the touchline. So he was just on the bench to make up the numbers effectively in the end. Post-match, Pep said he's had a little niggle with his hamstring and he just said to the club doctor, like, I'm a bit unsure. So Pep said, we're not going to risk it. He did train yesterday, according to rumours, although we've not seen any evidence of that from the club channels. So we will be looking for training ground picks today from Man City. Pep will be asked about it. He definitely will be because it's his biggest player. And hopefully we know a little bit more. My take is, I think he starts, but unless the niggle is still there, but knowing they have an FA Cup game versus Luton midweek, which is a game he probably wasn't planning on playing anyway, and knowing they've got a busy time coming up, and Pep will want minutes in his legs. He doesn't want De Bruyne missing 3 games on the trot, and going a whole 10 days without playing football. So I think if he's fit, he'll start. Dean, what's your take there on De Bruyne?
Yeah, it was obviously a surprise and a disappointment for a lot of us. I mean, that double game week really didn't go to plan at all. So I was pleased actually to get him close to 100 points because, a lot of the players didn't actually get in the minutes that I would have expected them to. With, you look at a week like that, and I had Connor Bradley, who played both games, came out with 4 points. Diogo Jota came out of it with 4 points, and De Bruyne comes out of it with 2 points. And I talked this time last week, I think, about the fact that I was considering making De Bruyne captain instead of Haaland. Thank goodness I did not go with that hunch. Maybe that's something for me to remember when I consider picking Jarrod Bowen this week. But I think KDB will certainly feature. And it's a game, obviously, with the way that the title is going right now and the way that everything's shaping up, it's not a case of necessarily being able to rest players. They miss a lot when KDB's not there. We've seen how much better they are when he can get on the pitch. So maybe that's why that they've just left that for now.
Yeah, I hear that. Guys, do let us know if you've got any other questions throughout the show. We're going to have more time for questions in today's stream. That's something you guys requested. We do have a 3 o'clock. Sorry, we've got a 1:30 deadline this week, which is really rare that there's no early kickoff. So historically, we have 11 o'clock deadlines on Saturdays and a 12:30 kickoff. Now, the 12:30 game is always the game. Usually, if it's a big team like a Liverpool or an Arsenal or a Man City, we get a bit of team news on Twitter. We get some leaks. Whether you like it or not, that's a reality now in FPL. And we get loads of rubbish ones that you should take no notice of, and we get some accurate ones. With it being a 1:30 deadline and loads of 3 o'clock teams this week, I would expect there to be even more rubbish leaks and even more accurate leaks. So just FYI, the teams playing in the 3 o'clock kickoffs, Brighton are one of them. So as Stupinan owners, you'll be interested there. Maybe we get something. Aston Villa, Forest, Brighton, Everton, Palace, Burnley, Man United, Fulham. However, a few hours after that, Man City do play. So the De Bruyne news could come pre-deadline. Bournemouth, Man City is the 5:30 kickoff. So not saying absolutely wait, like make your transfers when you want to make your transfers. But for many, if you hear, for example, let's say you've got 11 players out and you've already taken a 4-point hit, but your team's all set. And then you hear news of an Estupinan and De Bruyne bench and now one of your 11s, possibly you consider an additional -4. I think for me, if they were named in the squads, I'd probably just play them and hope they get off the bench and get me some points. But yeah, do keep that in mind. It's weird having a 1:30 deadline, isn't it, Dean? Like, why is there no early kickoff? I guess, I don't know. It's a strange one because there's a 5:30 and an 8.
Was there a game that they thought was going to be scheduled?
Oh, Arsenal. Changed? It's Arsenal Newcastle on TNT, and TNT at 8 o'clock, usually up to 12:30. It's because Arsenal have been coming back from Portugal on Wednesday, and maybe there was some sort of special request there.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to be talking about Arsenal in a minute when we do Against the Obvious. I really am going against the obvious this week. I'm taking a bit of a punt. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Should we go to Against the Obvious now? Because I've gone safe and you've gone punty. I like it.
It's you first.
It's me. Here we go. So I'm going to give you 60 seconds worth of reasons why not to buy. Let's start that clock. One of my, probably the player I rate most out of the big sort of 4 or 6 clubs. So I think Ivan Toney and Neto are on a level apart. And I really think he's the best footballer outside of the top 4-6 teams. But is he a good FPL buy this week? I'm not so sure he is if you're shopping for a Wolves midfielder, right? Look, he's a good buy, of course he is. If you're shopping for a Wolves midfielder, I think you've got to go Hwang. And that's purely built on the opposition. Dean's just said it earlier, like Neto has been brilliant away from home. Wolves are great away from home. When they play teams where they have the opportunity to run into and counter-attack, Neto thrives, like against Spurs. And against Newcastle next week, Neto's the better pick than Hwang. But against Sheffield United at home, they're going to park the bus. It's going to be a back 5. It might be a back 8. Like, I think Hwang's going to get the opportunities and Neto is going to struggle with time and space, which is kind of what he thrives on. So I'm backing Hwang over Neto, although, of course, both in their own right are good picks.
Yeah, at face value, it doesn't look great, does it? Because we've just been talking about Neto as one of the best buys you could get this game week. But yeah, I did talk about the fact that it's the assist value that is there with Neto rather than the goal value. And there, from that perspective, probably 1 or 2 different picks you could take that are going to be slightly better or slightly more hopeful. Talking of hopeful, this could really backfire on me. It's a player which I've questioned quite a few times recently. I haven't had him in my team. And my Against the Obvious is Bukayo Saka. It's going to be a big sell, this one, isn't it? But we can start the clock. Look, first I'll face up to it. Like, Saka has been in great form. But it depends on your reading of this, because Saka's scored 6 goals in 4 consecutive Premier League appearances for Arsenal, which is fantastic form. But that's as many as he's managed in the first 20 games of this season. Now, which version of Arsenal do we truly trust? The one that we've seen consistently over a course of a season, or the bite-sized one that we saw winning 5-0, 6-0, and then get locked up against Porto in midweek? Arsenal went to Porto, and Porto made that game dull as you like. Arsenal fans were complaining on Twitter like, oh, they're play acting. They're just stopping any flow of the play. Saka was locked up. Martinelli was locked up. Arsenal did not have a shot on target. Newcastle need to be taking account of this. Other teams have been too open. They've let Arsenal play. Arsenal play on emotions. Once they get high, they ride high. Lock them up and they do not have joy.
Oh. Mate, that is a quote. Once they get high, they ride high. Luck them up. and they won't
true,
have any
mate.
joy.
Like, this is a team.
Poetic.
Yeah, I hadn't even rehearsed that.
Jack will have you, mate.
But yeah, there's such a hard team to get a handle on, Arsenal, because to win 6-0 and 5-0 and to be looking like you're in the best form of the season, and then to go to Porto, a team not in brilliant form, and not freeze on that stage because they still dominated for a lot of it, but to fail to shoot or score enough isn't great. And Saka just couldn't get free of those shackles that he needed. And I think that that's been the story of the season more than the last 4 game weeks when he has had joy. And Newcastle are one of the better teams in the division. This isn't Burnley. This isn't West Ham. So what are we expecting? I mean, look, I think it'll be a tight game. Arsenal probably edge it by 1 goal. It's going to be a tight affair where you probably expect both teams to score. But by all means, have Saka. I mean, if you're thinking of captaining Saka, then I certainly would be advising you to steer clear of that.
Ooh, 16% of our poll are looking at captaincy on Saka. I think if he had scored in the week and Arsenal had gone and got another 4-0 win, you're like, oh yeah, maybe I'll back that momentum. But you're right. And it is FPL Chai. I DM'd you the link on Twitter about half an hour ago, dude. If you fancy it, come and join. I think I sent it. Yeah, Arsenal, if they had smashed it in the week, maybe we'd go there. But do you think, I kind of feel like, Dean, they're just flat track bullies. Like, they can go and spank a Burnley or a Sheffield United and score 5. But when push comes to shove and I'm not saying they're going to lose games. Like, I remember, was it a few weeks back, they looked really good against Liverpool at home. Like, they were brilliant. It was probably their performance of the season, tight game. But what we don't see is that free-flowing Arsenal against really strong opposition. And Newcastle pose a threat, although it is worth noting West Ham and Burnley's defence has been rubbish of late, but Newcastle's has been equally as bad. Like, amongst the worst defences in the league right now, Newcastle. So I don't mind the Saka shout this week, but I think it's a good discussion to have. And off the back of a Wednesday night trip to Portugal, like, this team isn't used to playing midweek football every week, certainly not European away days. So again, there could be a little bit of heaviness in the legs playing on Saturday, and looks like the TV schedule has gone. It's too short to put them on the Saturday early kickoffs. They've given them to the 8 p.m, but Saturday alone isn't ideal. They'd have preferred a Sunday, I'm sure. Yeah, worth looking at there, because there's loads that don't own Saka that have gone to buy him back. Neil Robertson's one of those owners, and I heavily recommended last week, if you don't own Saka, to buy him. So it'll be really interesting to debrief that Arsenal-Newcastle game on Sunday night show, because Newcastle, historically, under Howe, have been one of the best defences in the league. They can go to places like the Emirates, shut up shop. We saw them go to places like AC Milan, and I think that was a 0-0 draw. Or was it 1-1? It was tight. Like, Newcastle have the ability to be a proper good defence, but of late, the floodgates have opened. I wonder if we'll see Dan Burn versus Saka, or if Dan Burn will finally be dropped.
I mean, if my bet is going to pay off, I kind of hope he's dropped. But yeah, who knows? CH's got a work cut out right now in the comments with all the bots. No idea what's going on there. But
apparently, CH doesn't have permission to block people.
Oh, really?
Did I just see? I don't know. CH, we'll try and block them if you can't. Let us know if you don't have that permission. I think I saw her say earlier she doesn't have permission.
Yeah, a load of nonsense going on there. So ignore. Well done. Yeah, but it's real. I mean, let me know in the comments how much you guys trust Arsenal. Like, I say this consistently on the Ranks podcast, that I just don't think Arsenal get close to actually beating City or Liverpool to the title. I just have them third in that race, and I just can't see them getting to that next level yet. It's not, and I don't mean this in a detrimental way. I just don't think this team's there yet. It's just too soon. And I think that was part of what we saw in Porto. It's just a team that's still learning, still coming together. And they'll have these amazing performances.
Hello.
And I just don't know how. Hey, here he is, Chai. The
lads, how are we?
Fan of them all. Chai, do you trust Arsenal?
I do trust Arsenal, to be fair. Not in the Champions League.
You still got Gabby Jesus, Chai?
No, I moved him on last week.
Thank God.
Thankfully. Yeah, it was a good decision. I moved him on to Tony, and I'm very happy with it. Hello, chat, by the way. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, Peter says Arsenal defense is the best in the league. Saka's been great. Has Saka been great? I don't think Saka's been great. I don't know what this talk is. Like, I'm talking here I'm not talking from an FPL perspective right now, Peter. I'm talking about like a winning the league case. Like, I just don't think Arsenal can outgun Liverpool or Man City. But look, might be wrong. It's just an opinion. While we're waiting for Chai to come on, the swear king, as someone has just referred him to, British 87.
Yeah, no more swearing from me. I didn't know I wasn't led, boys. I'm so sorry. I know now. FPL fella says, Choi, when you DMing me about the West Ham assets. Yeah, so I've actually been looking at getting Kurt Zouma in. I just want to fill a gap between 26 and 29. I have Estupinian and Walker, and you never know, they mightn't play. So I just need someone that I know is going to play 90 and play in 2 game weeks. So I don't know. I could be going towards Kurt Zouma. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
I bought Kurt Zouma not long after that cat incident last season. And, my wife was not happy. And I was like, Cam, don't be ridiculous. Like, I'm picking him for his FPL credentials. I clearly don't like the bloke. And I thought that'd be it. But FPL Twitter had me for it. I was like, oh, wow. Like, okay. I can't do that. Can I not?
There's no positive spin you can put on kicking a cat.
Yeah.
I mean, he did.
That's a no-win.
He got me a double-digit haul within a couple of weeks. So I was fine with it. But yeah, I mean, I'm a huge animal lover and would be booing him if I was there in the stadium still. And
I wonder if he still gets it. I mean, I bet he does.
He does. Yeah. Do you know when he goes to kick the ball? So everyone's
good. He deserves every ounce of it.
I agree.
Absolutely. Sean says Zouma is ex-Chelsea, to be fair, Gianni.
Still,
fella, I'd worry about Zuma's injury record. I'd worry more about the amount of goals West Ham concede, to be honest.
You know, they actually have decent fixtures, right? The thing about Koufal is I feel like Ben Johnson's been playing very well. He's one I was looking at, but he got benched, which I was surprised with. So I don't know if you'll see alternation with Koufal and Johnson.
Go Emerson, mate.
Yeah, Emerson is a good show.
Euros 2020 winner, mate. He won the Euros at Wembley. He beat England in their own backyard.
Yeah, we'll see. Hwang is awfully tempting, though.
Yeah, you think?
I'm sure you talked about him already,
Yeah.
How many transfers are you making, Chai? Are you doing a defensive move and a midfield move? Are you looking at both? Are you getting 11 out?
I was listening to Prass last night, and he was talking about Foden and Walker potentially being rotated, and it scared the life out of me. So I might take a -4, but I might just play it safe and just hope that Foden and Walker play, because they have had a lot of fixtures in the last few days. So right now, probably just one free transfer.
I would think if we were going to see rotation for Phil Foden, the game to rotate him would be the FA Cup game versus Luton.
Yeah, that's also true, actually. Yeah, it's hard to say. You don't know what's going on with KDB either. I suppose we'll have to see.
Yeah. Neil Robertson, our snooker player, has got into the chat. Practices 3 to 4 hours on his own, or up to 6 hours if practicing with someone else. So that's from your question earlier, G, about how long he actually practices for around the table.
That's a day.
That's a lot, man. 3 to 4 hours potting balls. Like, that is madness. He's succumbed to buying Saka because he's been the difference between him getting red and green arrows. And he's transferred Hwang in already, frightened of the Sheffield fixture hurting me if it's a blowout. Yeah, it's...
I don't see that, though. What do you guys think?
What, you don't see Hwang going big?
Not even that. I just don't see Sheffield getting hammered. More so, you know what I mean?
I mean, we forget that they did have 10 men after about 20 minutes last week.
I thought, I think it was the game before. Who did they play?
They beat Luton.
Everyone is expecting Luton to batter them, and then they came out with that result. That's why I didn't go with the Luton assets.
Well, they'd lost 5-0 the week before that as well. That's why. Like, when they get beat, they get beat 5-0. And when they don't, they actually put up quite a good fight. Like, there's the game before that, the Palace, they only lost that one 3-2. They drew with West Ham 2-2 as well. So this is a team that can produce results, but they can also completely fall apart. And I don't totally trust Wolves. As I said before, like, away from home, they've got an amazing record, actually. But yeah, it's a strange one.
I think I'm pretty pro Wolves at the moment. Like they've just done the double over Spurs. Sorry, Chai. And I know that sort of opposition suits them. And I know it's a very different setup against Sheffield United, who will come and park the bus, and it's a home fixture. But I think, yes, Sheffield United could show signs of keeping teams out, clean sheet against Luton. They were unfortunate to have, I mean, not unfortunate, it was a shocking challenge by Holgate. But they conceded all those goals when they were down to 10 men. But I just back a team in good form versus a team on the ropes. And we can't look past the fact Sheffield United have conceded more goals than any team in Premier League history at this point in the season. Like, if ever we're going to target a defence, this season in the Premier League, Burnley and Sheffield United, we have got two of the weakest defensive teams we've had in a long time in the Premier League. And I think we can start to target them. And I, again, am pretty big on targeting Wolves, I think. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be going Hwang.
They remind me of
House
Spurs.
says, for what it's worth, I've just been informed Hwang has flu.
Rubbish. Who said that?
There's no way.
Miller House.
No, you're not even one of our regulars, Miller House. Go on, Chai, what are you saying?
No, I was going to say, the Wolves now remind me of Spurs last year under Conte. We just hit teams on the break. Neto was like our son, and he just carries the ball and sprints the other end and passes to Kane. It's like Kane-son partnership between Neto and Kuna and Hwang. But yeah, they definitely are good. I just don't know if I can. So I have to transfer out Palmer to get Hwang if I want him. Have the exact funds to do it. And I can't get rid of Palmer. Like, I just can't do it.
Yeah. I hear you. I think if you're selling a Jota to a Hwang, like me, it makes complete sense.
Yeah,
but if you don't own Jota this week and you're not making a midfield transfer and you're having to force it, it is way more difficult. And I think Neil's actually in that boat himself, looking to sell a good player. But yeah, Palmer is one I'd be reluctant on, like you are, Chai. Also, do you have value tied up in Palmer? Because there's a lot that bought him at 4.9 or 5.
I bought him at 4.9.
Oh, yeah. Of course you did. That was the pocket transfer. So if you're doing that, it's fine to go, I've made money on him, I can sell him. Don't worry too much about team value. It does matter less this point in the season. Team value is so important game weeks 1 to 10. But what I would say, if you are going to be buying Palmer back on wildcard, then it really does matter for team value, because you're literally just going, I've got $500,000 to spend less now on my wildcard. And I guarantee you, when you're making a wildcard, you'll want that 0.5.
Exactly. And when you do wildcard, which is likely 30 or 31, they have really good fixtures. I think they have Burnley and Sheffield. Yeah. So that's why I kind of really want to keep him. You know what? Now, though, I really like Bruno now that Højlund is out. I just feel Rashford's probably going to play up top, and Bruno's going to have to be more attacking, I say.
He could play Bruno on the right, couldn't he?
He could, yeah. But surely Anthony or Diallo will get a go.
Well, or does McTominay get a chance and Bruno plays on the right?
That's true. Yeah, that could happen.
McSauce might deserve a start. I mean, he's got the goal threat.
Yeah, for sure.
I have some suggestions that if you have got Højlund and you're going for a like replacement, and Tony, the place to go. Obviously, he's got a decent fixture. He's been playing really well, Ivan Tony. He is more expensive than Højlund by about $1 million, but that is a pretty good pick. I've been watching Tony much closer since he came back from.
He's really good, isn't he?
He is actually much better than I'd ever really realized.
I've really been like monitoring him. I was like, if he played for Spurs, he'd do bits. He'd never join us, say that. But
do you know what? I mean, Tottenham do actually like him, and I was speaking.
It's just the age for me.
Yeah, I think they would genuinely try to be in a conversation. They're not going to do that unless they were convinced that Arsenal and Chelsea were like not in that conversation, because it just feels like a waste of time at the moment. But if for any reason Arsenal didn't go and sign him, and I don't think Chelsea are prioritising him, to be fair, then maybe someone like Tottenham could come in. But he's just got a bit of everything. He's smarter than I realised.
So good in the air as well. He reminds me of Kane with like his hold up and just how like witty he is when he has the ball. Like everything seems to be one touch passes around the corner. It's like perfect. Like it's mad because he plays for Brentford as well. So him doing that for Brentford, imagine with like maybe one of the bigger teams. So
totally. Yeah. I haven't seen the quotes, but it sounds like from the chat, like it's not sounding good on KDB. Getting a start. Gemil says doesn't look like KDB.
I've got a quote. Pep says he's not injured. I don't know if he's 100%, but I think we took a good decision not to take a risk. We took a decision because he did not feel comfortable. I'm pretty sure he'll travel.
Okay.
I would say that's more positive than like Pep's not going to. if he's fit, Pep does not come out and say he's fit to start. Like, that's not the sort of manager Pep is. So saying he'll travel and saying he's not injured, I don't know. I'm always a glass half full person, but I take that as more positive than negative.
Yeah, it's interesting. Either way, he's going in my team lineup this week. He's going to be playing at some point, I'm sure.
He's not going to travel to not come off the bench, is he?
Not come off the bench. I wouldn't have thought so. Michael Scott says, with uncertainty over KDB, would you consider switching him to Hwang? Would you do that? Would you switch KDB to Hwang?
No, I don't think so.
I'd wait for a team league.
Yeah,
do you think we'll get it though? I think we'll get it. A team league, like they play in the 5:30. What do you think, Chai? You're big on that scene.
I just feel like Tony and who's the other one? Man, they're on the ball recently. They're killing it. Every single deadline they have it, no matter when the kickoff is. It's mad.
Do you get private DMs, do you?
Me? No, I wish.
Privileges of being world number 30.
No. But if I did know that he wasn't starting, I'd definitely bring in Hwang for sure.
We've got a super chat in from Emre. I think it's the first time we've got money in Turkish lira as well. So thank you for that, Emre. This is one for you two. You'll have better advice than me here, so I'll read the question. Senesi versus Pau. What do you guys think for game week 27 onwards? Pau doesn't blank in 29, but Senesi has a double game week before and a better game week 27.
It all comes down to what percentage chance you think you're going to navigate 29 without a chip. If you're going to go 29 without a chip, and you think you will, then go Pau Torres. If you think there's a good chance come 29 you will have wildcarded or you're going to use your free hit, go Senesi. Because there's so little in it, it comes down to how likely you think you are to use that chip in 29. Like at the moment, I'm like 60% likely not to use a chip, but 40% of me says I'm going to struggle without one and probably need it. So therefore, I would probably be going maybe Senesi. No, I'll be going Pau Torres because that's my 60. Whatever. You hear me. Thanks, Emre. Chai, we're going to need your take here because we're going to be showing our teams and we've got some questions. We've only got 10 minutes left. So thank you all for enjoying the show. Get those likes and subscribes in, but we're going to be showing our team. So first up, Dean, I think we can have a little look at your team with your suggested transfers and Chai can give his take. Chai, we won't be showing your team today, but I'm guessing you're doing a deadline stream tomorrow, are you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Go on, give it a plug.
I will do. I'll do it in chat.
Oh, good man. Good man.
All these chasers know who I am by now, surely. I'm sick of seeing me, I'd say.
It's your audience, mate, not ours. Yeah, obviously. So I've got two gaps in my team at the moment. One for Jota, one for Son. I'll be playing. I'll assume at this stage I'll be playing with 10 and just replacing Jota. As I spoke about earlier, Hwang, Pascal Gross and Jared Bowen are the three guys that I'm weighing up at the moment to bring in. I don't think I'm going to go Neto. So that's where I'm going. What's your opinion? Like, should I be gambling here and going -4 and making another change to field 11, do you think? Because there's obviously other guys that I could take out beyond Son.
I can see why you don't want to sell. You shouldn't sell Son or Porro because they play in 29 and Palmer. You could sell a Bradley if you thought Trent was back soon. But Lascelles seems the -4 option for me. Like I would take Lascelles out, and although Cher did come off injured, but Howe said he's fine, but you never know with Howe. But I think I'd be selling Lascelles on a -4.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think I'd sell Lascelles and Jota. Depends on your plan on 29, but you could move towards maybe a Villa defender, I would say. Who do you plan on bringing in for Diogo? Is it Hwang?
Yeah, so it's Hwang probably if I'm going with the crowd, and if not, then I'm going to either go Gross, or if I really go for an outsider, then Jared Bowen, but probably Pascal Gross.
Yeah, I think Kudus and Bowen are going to need the radar. It will only take a fixture or two of.
That's exactly what I was saying earlier on. Yeah, I just feel like obviously West Ham have fallen off a cliff without Paqueta in there, but is Jared Bowen really going to stay off the radar for that much longer? Like he doesn't usually go that long without goals, and West Ham, as bad as they might have been, this isn't a team who's going to be hit relegation form and just not win again this season. They're going to pick up results because they're going to be too good to do that. So yeah, Bowen is my outside bet at the moment. All right, because I'll have a think then about taking the -4, because I did think that part of me that Lascelles might need to go. He's been on my bench for ages anyway, not doing anything, hasn't he?
Fair. Let's have a look at my team. 2 transfers for me this week. Maybe a -8 for 3 transfers. I am
-8,
going.
really?
Well, I'm going. So the 2 transfers I'm making are Hwang In and Solanke In. I've actually not pulled the trigger on these yet, but I'm showing it as I have, because unless we get a curveball in the press conferences, Hwang and Solanke in. Darwin Jota out. Do I make an additional -4 to get Estupiñán out? I could go straight to. I've got a spare Arsenal slot, right? I could go, and I've been saying for weeks. I was 0.1 short last week, shy of going Porro out to Saliba. 0.1 short, and I went to Doherty, and I've wanted Saliba for weeks. And every week I say I want him and can't get him, he goes and clocks a 6 to a 10 pointer. And again, I could see another Arsenal clean sheet. Like Estupiñán to Saliba, I could just swallow an extra 4-point hit and go over the next 3 weeks. Even if he doesn't play in 29, I know I get those 4 points back, because Arsenal are the best defense in the league, and it ain't even close. Their XGC in the last 6 is under 3 goals. Next best to that is Forest at like 6. Like Arsenal's defense is a joke at the moment. It's so good. But if Estupiñán starts, sure, he stays in, and I hopefully filled the 11. I think De Bruyne, as long as now I know he's in the matchday squad, even if he was benched, I think I would hold him, because there's a good chance he gets 30. Chai, what's your thoughts on that team?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to get rid of Estupiñán with those fixtures. You just never know what's going to happen with them, though. And Lamptey looks quite good.
Yeah.
I thought it was unusual that he didn't play last game. Well, he came on for a 1-pointer, I think it was.
9 minutes he got.
It's so random. Like, I don't know what to do with him personally. I think I'm just going to hold on to him for the time being, just because he's not worth getting rid of for a hit, I don't think.
Yeah, Mr. V, who's in the top couple of hundred in the world, says give Estupiñán one more game, and you're probably right.
Yeah.
They've got the Europa League coming up. They've just drawn Roma. First legs, first week of March. There's going to be mass rotation at Brighton. And players like Lamptey, we know, cannot play twice a week. So that does give Estupiñán routes back to the team, which I think are absolutely necessary. Lamptey's a right back. I doubt he'll keep playing on the left, says Dario. You say that, but he's actually very good on his left foot. When he played left wing back the other week, he was brilliant with his left foot crossing. So, yeah, Charlie Taylor to the rescue. He's just back to fitness after 6 weeks out. He came off the bench last week, so I was buzzing with that. Dean, how do you feel about fielding some questions to Chai and I and taking them from the chasers for the next couple of minutes, and we'll do quick fire?
Yeah, let's do it. Right, let's quickly start digging through. I don't want any long lists because they get too confusing. Here you go. Divay says, for a football journalist, Dean knows very little about football. Cheers, mate. Thanks for coming along to the show. I've probably forgotten more than you know, mate, but there we go. Let's move on from that one, shall we? Let's find a better question. Ice G says, thoughts on Forest's new goalkeeper, Sells?
Better than the other two. Better than the other two. And Forest defense under Nuno is the second best in the league since he's come in.
That was mad.
Very good. Right, Sushant says, thoughts on potential wildcard this game week and bring in 3 Wolves players. Also, bring in players like Bowen and a Bournemouth keeper as a potential double game week player to set you up for longer time. What do you think about a wildcard with 3 Wolves players in it? Is that a good place to be heading at this stage?
I'd be happy with 2. And bulking up on a good Game Week 28 team and a good 29 team, I'd say. But yeah, I mean, Aït-Nouri and Hwang is quite good. I do like that double. Aït-Nouri gets in really advanced positions, and they have really good fixtures coming up. So definitely a clean sheet could happen. Another team that's likely to play in 29 that isn't really being talked about is Forest. So Taiwo Elwani could be a good shout. I think he's only 6 points something. But before he got injured, he was on absolute fire, and he's come back now and he's returned a few times. So he definitely could be one to look at.
6.3 million. Yeah, I agree. Forest are completely different under Nuno. They're worth our attention now.
Yeah. Right. Last few. Lungani, Son or Foden. Son plays. What's his Son Palace? Foden.
For next week.
The game week after. Yeah.
I think a lot will be making that move. A Man City mid, either De Bruyne or Foden out for Son. I'm looking at doing the same myself.
Yeah. Matthew says triple Villa attack if not using free hit in game week 29.
I'd prefer Villa defender and maybe one attacker. I would prefer to have a Kudus or a Bone instead of like a Bailey, I think, just because they have European competition to fight for. So you could see some rotation. Whereas West Ham, I would say it's more likely that Bone is more nailed. But definitely not a bad shout.
Okay, I'll go Dan and then I'm going to go Eddie. So Dan says, any point getting Luton players for the double?
Yes. If Doughty's back fit, I still think he's a great pick. And I think Morris and Barkley are Kaminsky. I don't mind Luton for the double at all.
Yeah, good stuff. And Eddie says, do I play Estupiñán to get 11 out or go He-Chan or Odegaard for Palmer? We don't know how many minutes Estupiñán plays and I bench him. So what do you think about that dilemma from Eddie? Does he play Estupiñán or take a bit of a punt and get in Hwang or Odegaard?
We're probably both holding, aren't we, Chai? Probably.
Yeah, see, I'm kind of in a similar position. Yeah, I would just hold Estupiñán personally.
Yeah.
I think I'll do similar. I guess we can't have Chai on. The good differential to replace Estupiñán, I'd probably go to Aston Villa or to an Arsenal defender. We need to give CH the right permissions, don't we? Because our spam is big today. Chai, we can't have you on, and we're about the final question. We can't have you on without asking you about where you are in the world. Like, you've been coming on since you were in and around the world top 10. You're still in the mixer.
Yeah,
give us an update. How you feeling? Like, because you've been getting red arrows, but red arrows to world number 30 or 40 are still massive. Like, you should be very happy with that.
Yeah, I went down to reality for a while after 6 red arrows, but now we are still 33rd. Like, after 6 red arrows, I went down to 40th, which is kind of crazy. But like, how many weeks has it been now? Nearly 16 weeks we've been around this spot. So I'm after seeing some load of analytics accounts, which is, good to see, and they're all doing really well. Like, I've seen a few accounts in the top 500, so it's mad seeing everyone else. They're like commenting on my posts, coming for each other, only whatever points away. Whereas you shouldn't be coming for me; you should be going for the top. But it's great to see that people are chasing me.
Yeah, no, I love that. Fair play, mate. I love the fact you're completely not an analytics account and you pick based on eye test predominantly, which is so cool that you've done so well, knowing so many are of the analytic accounts this year have done very, very well, and it does show that you need both sides to your game, both data and eye testing. Guys, before you leave, if you get us up to 100 likes, that'd be wicked. You may be wondering where the Chaser team is. The Chaser team is no longer, due to you lot saying that we need more time for Q&A. We've decided to get rid of the producer's team. He's still going to continue to manage his own team, but he is going to be inspired by your comments in the chat. But rather than poll it, as we have been all season, you've been making his team for him and his decisions for him. He's now taking the reins for a few weeks. Look, it could come back. You never know. But for the time being, our producer is confident enough in his thinking, with your inspiration in the chat, to click his own buttons. So that's where we're at. We'll miss it a little bit, though, won't we, Dean?
Yeah, I won't. CH says she needs more coffee, and I think that's a good time to go.
Yeah, I like that. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you're just joining in, go and watch the last hour. If you fancy hearing more from Chai, he's got a deadline stream tomorrow at the same time as I've got my deadline stream. But go watch Chai. He's world number 30. If you want... Yeah. If you fancy watching me later, I'm going to do some more Q&A with Az from Black Box on my channel, the Gianni Buttici YouTube show, at 4:35 today. So hopefully I'll see some of you on my channel at 4:30. But for now, Dean and I will be back on Sunday. He's been Dean. He's been Chai. You lot have been the amazing chat. Shout out as well, Neil Robertson, who's been with us this afternoon. And you lot have all hopefully been chasing green arrows. We'll see you very soon.
See ya.